Okay, the recording has started. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Sorry for the short delay. We are here today to talk about CA Datacom and Workload Automation CA7. With us today are Grace Strother and Mary Sue Red from the support team, and they're going to be stepping through a presentation. Again, just for those of you who aren't sure, as you can see, it's part 1 of 2. So we're going to be doing part 2 in a couple weeks. It's posted out in the community, so hopefully you'll join us for that one as well. As I mentioned to those of you who were here earlier, we have most of the lines muted so that the recording that we're doing is quality and easy to understand. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature in the WebEx. If you don't see a Q&A box in the lower right of your screen, click the question mark icon up in the top right, and it will open for you. And with that, Grace, why don't you go ahead and take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Let me go ahead and advance the screen. Okay, Mary Sue. Yes.
Yeah, up at the top of the screen, you should see 0, 1 with little arrows pointing forward and back. That's how you advance them when I upload the deck for you ahead of time.
Can you go ahead and put it on Mary Sue Red's desk because I switched over?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
all good. All good. All right, Mary Sue, you're driving the bus now.
All right, great.
Is it working for you?
No. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Okay, today's agenda, we're basically going to talk about the overview for Datacom and CA7, configuring Datacom for CA7, and mainly a lot on managing the current Datacom CA7 database. Okay. All right. Basically, with R12, CA Datacom is now used for the databases, and the files, the vSAN files that are being replaced is the SAS job, the SAS IDS, the ARF, and the VERM files. All other files remain the same except for those 4. Datacom is a separate install from the CA7, and basically what you need to do is do the full install, and then we'll go over the customizations of the MUF as we get on to the presentation. The components, and these are the things that you're going to be hearing a lot of, and some of you may be familiar with it if you have the CA11 and possibly with the ENF. You will know that the main component is the MUF, which is the multi-user facility. The MUF is the access from the CA7 to access the CA7 database, and it needs to be the same priority as the CA7 or your JES. What happens is, if it's not at the same priority, CA7 is going to move the slowest priority of between CA7 and the MUF. The MUF also executes in a different address space. And currently, there's a lot of clients that we do have multiple CA7s. The MUF, we strongly recommend that the MUF should be in the same LPAR as your CA7 started task. And this is so that you don't have, you'll find that you may have significant degradation if the MUF is on a different LPAR from where your CA7 started task is running. Each instance of CA7 must have its own MUF, or they can share, and we'll go over that a little bit more later and how you may want to go ahead and set that up depending on how many 7s you have, and your DR or anything like that, or how your production environment is set up. So the MUF, within the MUF, you have your databases in there. CA7 database is known as database ID 770, and within that database ID, you have different tables that we have predefined columns for all your data, right? And within that tables, you also have different relationship to the other tables. We'll go over that in a few. We'll be able to see what the different tables and the data areas that we have that resides within the actual database. Okay, the database ID within that resides in that MUF, CA7 uses database ID 770. And you can have, within that MUF, you can have your CA11 running in there. We're finding out more and more that a lot of clients are opting a different MUF for the CA, for their CA11 because of the different requirements as far as their CA11 is. Multiple database IDs can exist within that single MUF. So we have clients there that may have CA scheduler also. They can share the same MUF. Within the database ID 770, there is what we say the logical database name. The logical database name is the actual CA7 name instance that's running there. Most clients in the beginning have a little bit of problem correlating between the database ID 770 and the logical database name. The logical database name is normally like your CA71, your CA72, so those can also be within the same database. Let's see here. In your CA71, for instance, that's the main key that we go after. If your logical database name is CA71, that's the logical key that every record holds within your 770 database. It has that logical database name in every record. So everything is basically in that one database, 770, and when your CA71 logical database name is being accessed, it'll just pull those records pertaining to that logical database. Within the MUF, the cut slide. The cut slide is a unique cut slide for every MUF instance. Basically, that's how you point to that particular 7 that you were running under. So, in essence, you'll have a step lib in your CA7 ONL. You'll have the step lib, anything that communicates, i.e. like a BTI job. And you'll see that you'll have the cut slide and including your CAX load. We'll go more in a little bit detail on that further on. The DB params is your CA7 that is going to refer to the logical database name that you want to communicate with. Okay. Then other jobs like the transport also, those will need the cut slide and the DB params. Data areas. Data areas are, I think some of you have seen, these are the different areas where all of the data resides in. You'll see in the installation that there are several data areas that are defined for the different data types. Here is a quick cheat sheet on there on your 11.3 or pre-11.3. The SAS job per se, they reside in two data areas like the job 770 and the DFS 770. Your prior run queue will also reside in two different areas. So here's a quick cheat sheet on where the different data areas of your previous data sets. The one thing that I did miss here is the IXX 770. This is actually your index to all the data areas. So basically when a data is being written, it is also indexed. So, and we'll go over that because there's going to be a maintenance job that you should run daily to because your IXX can fill up. For the data area sizing, we provide a job in the installation to determine how much space you're going to require. We recommend that, go a little bit more generous on there. It's a little bit better for you to oversize. DASI's cheaper now, so go ahead and give it a little bit more. This way you don't have to keep having to do any maintenance. Datacom will dynamically extend as needed. Basically, the allocation is just like any other DASI allocation. You get 15, 16 extends, and then in your secondary you get 15. So basically, that Datacom will go ahead and allocate for you. At midnight, we'll show that a little bit later. In the CA7 starter task, you will see how much what's the current allocation of your data areas. Okay. Another thing that's going to be different for you in R12 for CA7 is the recovery. That is one of the reasons why CA7 did go to Datacom, because of the couple of things, the backup and the recovery. So in the, for CA11, it doesn't use recovery. So there are going to be some changes you're going to need to do for the math as far as recovery. There is a parameter in there called log-recno. It means that, we're going to go ahead and it doesn't allocate a dedicated device, but it is not an automatic spill. So basically what happens is when the LXX is full, it's going to prompt you to go ahead and run a spill job, or it will display that you need to go ahead and run a spill job. So this setup, I think, is going to go ahead and your log recover and the log spill. We'll go a little bit more into detail in this because it's in a further section. Just wanted you to be aware that it's going to be different from CA11. Okay, here it is. The sharing of the MUF with your CA11, log RCV equals never means, basically what that means is it's just going to wrap around LXX, so it's going to write over and over, and a spill is not required. CA11 does not require that. But with CA7, the log rec has to be known so that the LXX can be spilled. So that basically what happens is it writes the records to the LXX, and once that LXX gets to a certain amount, which you can determine on the MUF settings, then you'll get a right to operator that you need to spill that. And a spill job must be run so that you can empty that out to the RXX, and once the RXX, and the RXX is going to be used for recovery. When you do the install, we're going to recommend you to, I think we revised the install, to make sure that the spill jobs, or the AL2DCA 80 and AL2DCA 05, which define the GDG for the RxX. These should be done ahead of time, because what we've seen is while you are doing your importing, doing your testing, that LXX starts to spill, and at that point, it's just sitting there until you're ready to spill. So that's pretty important. We find quite a few people that's done that due to the size of their database. So you may spill like 3 times before you actually complete your first import of your data. Okay. Okay. Backups, and again, one of the good reasons why CA7 decided to go to Datacom is for backup purposes, where you can do your hot backups while 7 is up and running. A stable backup, which we do recommend that you do occasional stable backups, is the database has to be closed, 7 has to be down. This means there's no activity going on, and at this point you can do a restore of that database and begin processing. Not a problem with that because everything is down. The hot backup, which you can run this hot backup while CA7 is running, and we suggest that you do this during your low activity, low processing, and this is in conjunction with having to do forward recovery. So basically what that means is on a hot backup, you would use the hot backup, take any of the spilled files that that created GDG, and you would do a forward recovery with that, okay? Both backups will include all logical databases in that one month. So if you have a CA71 and a CA72, you will be backing up both instances. So in essence, I think that is one of the things that why we're finding out some of the clients are shying away from having the same database, the same logic, this one month for, let's say, 2 databases, is because if you've got to recover CA71, that also means you're populating your CA72. So if you have, let's say, a production and a test, and all you want to do is forward recovery test, you will also forward recovery your production. So that's something you might want to keep in mind when you're trying to do multiple databases in one month. The recovery files, which is the RxX, basically that is the data that when you run the spill file, the LXX basically is, copied over to the RxX, which is going to be used for recovery. Again, the LXX sizing, unfortunately, we cannot tell you how to do the LXX, because let me give you an instance on that. You're going to have to play with it depending on how often you want to go ahead and spill in a daytime. For example, if you want to spill 3 times a day, you might want to just have that LXX a little bit smaller so that it will require a spill every so often throughout the day. If you want to do 1 spill through the day, then that LXX needs to be a lot larger. Keep in mind, though, when you are doing forward recovery, it is going to take a little bit longer time to do that forward recovery. Okay? Ensure that your GDG versions, that you have enough GDGs in there, defined so that, let's say, all you did is a weekly backup and numerous, 3 times a day, and on the 7th day, then you only define 15, then you may not have enough to go back from the last backup done. if and ever you need to do a recovery, please don't do anything. Open a step 1, both for CA7 and CA Datacom, and together we will help you through it to make sure that that recovery is successful. All right, we'll go into the section about configuring Datacom for CA7. Basically, configuring the Datacom is it's outlined in the install guide, and the sections are within. I'm not going to really go into detail on those. It's pretty easy as you follow them through that section. So you can find them in the install guide, or using the doc ops. Okay, and when you configure the MUF, the configuring has to be done per MUF for your CA7. Okay, and the biggest factor here where you're going to, again, would be setting up that log rec recovery equals no. Okay, we've also found that a lot of clients have decided not to put CA11 within the same MUF because of the requirement of that logging with the 11. Although when you do forward recovery, we will just go through, we won't forward recovery the CA11, but the process may take longer since you have data for both. You have to set up a MUF security. That is also outlined in the install guide. Okay. Then after you've done your security, basically the next step would be to initialize the database, right? Import the database definition. This is also different from a CA11 MUF install. So this is not where you're importing your data. Basically, you do a define on the database, you import the database definitions, and then the next step you do is define those GDGs for your backup. Once that's done, a new portion that is the import plans. These plans are for CA7 so that it's usable for SQL. So basically, you repeat this step for each MUF that you are going to have for each CA7. These are all, again, in the install guide. It's pretty easy. Be aware that with the import plans that there are going to be some maintenance. It's going to require you to be able to change plans. So we do put the whole data on there. I think so far we have one fix that would require you to go ahead and run a job to import new plans because of a maintenance that has been done. And the next section is basically managing the database. Once you have everything set up, again, the backups, it's going to be site dependent. We have various ways of doing it. Backups for your DR. Call us if you have any questions on how to do the backups. We do recommend the hot backups, and then do a stable backup also when it's convenient. So the backups and the recovery can be used on your DR site. So that's another thing that you would be able to take advantage of to be able, and to the point where you're able to, get your backup and all your recovery files that you can put on your DR site. Okay. For the recovery, again, make sure you have enough generations for that recovery file. And from This way you have it from the last good backup and all the GDGs up to the most current point of failure. So again, we want to stress, let CA assist you if you ever need that to recover. Oh. Okay, reorganizing the database, the CA database, 770 database ID. It is not usually necessary for you to do that, not to reorganize. You can use the online reorg while CA7 is up if need be, or you could do a reorg by backup and then load when it's convenient, okay? Earlier I spoke about an index for the 770, and it is the IXX 770. There is a daily job that we recommend you to run. It's AL2 defrag. Basically what it does is it defrags the index. What happens is with Datacom, when the index is not it's not reusable. So the defrag will make it so that it's reusable. So the aim is about 10 to 25% being freed on a daily basis. So we've been saying everybody just run it on a daily basis, and you should not have a problem with your index. Okay, going back to the data area index sizing, we do have that space estimator. CA7 will also show you at midnight what the current utilization is. The areas that you define are going to go to dynamic extend, and Datacom will automatically add this extend as needed. And you can also do a dynamic extend at will. Okay. Here is the right to operate it that shows up at midnight. You can see the different data areas here and the percentage full. So I guess this is ours. Our IXX is full. Mary Sue, we need to defrag our IXX. You can also do an online command in CA7 by typing /display, perf equals Datacom, and you will see right here, you will see that it'll show the different percent full also. So this one, if you don't want to wait till midnight to come out, you can go ahead and do it online. Okay. We also ship a batch, a JCL called AL2 DB SBC, DB space. This will, there's two different types of report. There's a short report where it says type equals A. If you remove the type equals A, then you can get a full report. In this case, you can kind of see it's a very, very long report, but if there is a problem, this is something that more than likely CA7 technician or the Datacom technician is going to request you to run so we can look at the status of your database. As you can see here, this is the index, and it talks about the different how many blocks are in use, how many is unused. It tells you the data set name of that actual IXX and also the different volumes that it resides on. There's a lot more information. So let's see. As example here, there is additional information as far as how much is true detailed information that normally it's, well, the CA7 technician, there's only certain things that we look here. But as far as the Datacom technicians, there's a lot of information that they are able to use from this report. Oh, I guess that's it. We also have a lot of different technical documents that we have written for R12. You can probably just Google CA7 R12 Datacom and you'll be able to find those. Mainly, here is a list of a few, you know, if your database is empty, how to find the logical database. And again, here the different, we have a tech doc also for the different Datacom files. Okay? We have a lot of different, the doc is now under DocOps. Here's the link for it. And on September 27th, we will have Mary Sue Red talking about the conversion, which is the second part of our presentation. Okay, I think that's it. Do we have any questions?
Yes, Grace, thank you very much. That was great. We do have a few questions. Hopefully some of these will still make sense out of context because some of them came out while you were talking. The first one is that cheat sheet in the manual?
The what? I'm sorry?
Is that cheat sheet in the manual?
No, it's under a technical document. Let me go back. That cheat sheet right here is this first one. If you just Google CA7 R12 Datacom files.
All right, great.
Pull that up.
Great, thank you. Let's see, where's the next one? Are there negative impacts of over-allocation data areas?
Not that we've seen, no. Not at all. The only thing, and this is one basic, because I think we have run into a few, you know, just make sure that you have that space. You know, Datacom will dynamically allocate as long as you have those spaces on your volumes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. A couple more. This one is, so in essence, manual action will never be needed for extending the Datacom areas, question mark.
That is correct. Again, as long as you have volumes, right? The primary will try to take 6. When you initially allocate that, it's going to be just like your normal allocation. 15 extent is going to try to grab as much on the first primary volume. It'll grab one extent on the secondary and then another extent on the third if you have. So that's going to be your initial allocation. Now, as you start writing to it, it'll grab the primary, and on the secondary, it'll try to get as much as 15 extents on the secondary and as much as another 15 on the third. So as long as you have the space on the DASI, you don't have, it'll be dynamically done.
Okay, we have a couple more. They're still coming in. Please, can you repeat what the command/job was that checks how utilized the IXX is?
You need the job name? I think so. Right there. Is that the requesting for the defrag job?
I will let you know when Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
Go ahead.
Or the display. Let me get that.
And just so everyone on the line knows, I'll be putting this presentation along with the video replay of today's session out in the community later today. And the person who asked that question is saying that's it, so we're all set with that question. Thank you very much, Grace.
Okay.
A couple more. Do you intend to allow clients to request data directly from Datacom bypassing CA7, or do we still need to contact CA to create custom queries?
Contact us.
Okay.
Contact CA7, yes.
Okay. And then let's see. Is it documented that parts of Datacom are used like SQL, DB, etc., so it's easy to identify what hypers could affect CA7?
No, not all. Just the SQL. I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry, we don't have but what we will try to do, what we'll do is we'll post that. Mary Sue said we'll find that and we'll post it. And if we're not currently doing, we will research it to make sure that it will be a smoother transition if there is a data conflict that will affect CA7.
Okay, great, thank you. And then here's the last one, I think. We converted to R12 about a year ago. We are using CA Datacom R14, but there is CA Datacom R15 available with CA CSM. Is there an upgrade path, or do we stay with R14?
There is an upgrade path that that the Datacom team can help you with. They have an upgrade path from 14 to 15, yes. And normally if you contact Datacom team, they'll tell you exactly what needs to be run for the upgrade.
All right, I think that is all of the questions. So Grace, I will thank you for the great presentation today. Mary Sue, thank you for driving the PowerPoint. And thank you to all of our attendees. Another reminder is, as Grace said, in 2 weeks we're going to have the second part of this presentation. So hopefully you'll join us for that. And then I guess that's it. So everyone have a great day. And like I said, I'll get the presentation and the video replay of this session out in the community later today. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
The leader has disconnected. The